Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Skylar and today I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons of Animal Behavior College as an Animal Behavior College dog training graduate. So I graduated high school in June of 2018 and started classes with Animal Behavior College of August 2018. As of November 2019, I am a graduate of their dog training program. And I've also made 2 other videos on my channel about Animal Behavior College. The first one was an unboxing of the package they send you with all of their textbooks and t-shirt and all of that jazz. And then in December of 2018, I also did a video all about Animal Behavior College, or answering all your questions about one of those videos. Just because I'd gotten so many questions on my first video about my experience that I wanted to answer all of those in one place. On those videos, which are now, I believe, in my top 3 most popular videos on my channel, I get a ton of questions about Animal Behavior College. I think a big part of that is because you see a lot of online advertising for them. But I don't know if I just like skimmed over a section in the contract where it's like you can't talk about this on social media, or if their demographic is typically older people that don't want to or don't have the means or don't think to share their experience in this way. But I'm doing it, so honestly I wish I had this resource before I started, so I hope that you guys find this helpful. So first, I guess I'll talk about why I chose Animal Behavior College. I think I touched on this in, if not one, both of my previous videos. Basically, I graduated high school with honors, but I did not want to go to a traditional college for a multitude of reasons, which I'm sure I've touched on in some other videos of mine. If you're interested in checking those out, I can link those somewhere. But ultimately, to wrap it up, I had a lot of mental health problems that would have prevented me from being successful in a traditional college setting, and I believe that there are professions where you don't necessarily need a college degree. There are some schools that do offer animal-related programs that you can get degrees in. I think that would be very beneficial to you, just so you can say that you have those degrees. Ultimately, in this industry, I think that there's so much going on, but the more credibility you can gain through being associated with things or having certain certifications or whatever, the better you're going to look to the public, which is going to help you sell classes, and also kind of help put you ahead of other people. But on the other hand, you don't necessarily need a master's degree in animal sciences to be a dog trainer. So, I stumbled across Animal Behavior College mostly because when you search dog training schools, it's the first thing to come up. They're pretty good about that one. And I quickly signed up. I will say that they do have quite a few sales throughout the year. If you start school in the summertime, that's when tuition's the cheapest, so that's what I ended up doing. I started in August. And then they expect you to finish their courses anywhere from a year to a year and a half. I was on track to finish sooner. The bookwork itself I was able to get through pretty quickly. But ultimately, between work and all of the different moving pieces involved with this program, it took me, I don't know, like a year to finish, and then I didn't get like all the T's crossed and I's dotted until November of 2019. No big deal. So the bookwork itself, they give you 2 textbooks with however many chapters, and in my opinion they definitely do have a very base level understanding of all the concepts. If anything, it's best to introduce you to all of these different teaching methods and concepts and everything like that, the vocabulary especially, just so that you're aware of them, but they don't necessarily go super in depth as far as like the whys are concerned. I do think a big part of that though is because a lot of animal behavior is still undiscovered. We have a lot of theories, but because we cannot speak to a dog and be like, hey, how do you feel when this happens? And go through all of the diagnostics that you would with a person, in order to categorize different behavior and really get into the psychological aspect of that. We don't have that kind of information, so some of it is pretty wishy-washy just because that's how it has to be. But overall, the textbooks just give very base level information. One that sticks out to me in particular, because it's now something that I do have a lot of knowledge in, is they have a nutritional section in their textbooks, only a couple of pages, and it basically just gives you the definition and like compares dry diets, wet diets, and raw diets. And from what I remember, the information about the raw diets could definitely be improved. I think that they don't necessarily take into consideration the fact that there's so many accessible options to pre-made dog food when raw is concerned. They do touch on it. Ultimately, it does give you a good basis level understanding. If you're somebody who's only fed like kibble and you don't know what a raw diet is, what it consists of, or the benefits to a raw diet, but it's all super base level. And I would definitely recommend doing your own research about each aspect of the textbook learning just to further your understanding, because it is truly just here's what it is, moving on to the next thing type deal. And then after you finish the book work, you go into an externship where they pair you up with a local trainer that they have approved, and you work with them. You also do work at the shelter, which I think is great. But the externship was definitely what made the program worth it. I definitely had periods where it was like, okay, I could have like done a lot of research online and probably not have spent so much money. But it does, like I said, give you good information on things to continue to look into, and the externship of getting you comfortable working with somebody else and learning from them is definitely going to be very important. So the trainer that I did my externship with, I was able to learn a lot from. I was actually offered to continue working with him as like a paid gig after my externship, but I was already working full-time with conflicting schedules, so that wasn't gonna work. But that is one way to get your foot in the door if you are a new trainer looking to do not necessarily an apprenticeship, but to gain more information from that person, which I think is extremely beneficial for you. And if you're given the opportunity and it's something that will work for you, I definitely recommend going for it. Me personally, while I was going to school, started working at just a locally owned animal pet supply store that focuses on nutrition. So the owner's a certified nutritionist. Now that I've been working there for a while, I am a trained nutritionist. I am not yet certified, but I do take on consults. So if somebody comes in and their dog's like, my dog has kidney failure, I'm like, well, yeah, you fed them all kibble their whole life, but like, let's see what we can do to like fix that and help control it and make it a little bit easier on them. And so I'm able to do all that kind of stuff, which I think is really cool. It adds like a nice little pizzazz to things that I'm able to offer clientele as far as training goes, just because food and training are so like hand in hand. But getting that job, I think that being able to say I'm going to school for dog training was definitely a benefit and helped me get that job. As well as now that I am certified, we are making plans to host classes and CGC stuff. So that's pretty cool. Definitely opens you up to getting clientele that way, which is nice. And most importantly, I got to learn a lot from it. So basically, continuing education, super, 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 super important in order to get a whole well-rounded experience. What I've learned from people in the industry, they don't necessarily look down on people who go to animal behavior college, but it's definitely seen not necessarily in like a negative light. I can definitely tell that people are tired of seeing it advertised everywhere, from my own experience. And there are some trainers who have gone through the program who don't really take the time to fully round themselves out and kind of develop a complex, because they're such this great trainer and they're certified, they went to school for it, but then they haven't like taken the time to really understand anything past that base level understanding. So just the more I can say continue your education, the better. I think that's a huge part of it. As well as getting involved with other organizations and associations and that kind of stuff. From a consumer standpoint, the more acronyms you have attached to your name, the more knowledgeable you must be. Whether that's true or not, it definitely depends. But there's a lot of dog training organizations that you can become a member of for a fee. And they supply you with forums where you can learn from other trainers, or like webinars, courses, that kind of thing that you can continue learning about. And all of this culminates to having a specialty. If you take a look at all of the trainers in your area, chances are, if you get to know them and their services, everyone has their own specialty, something that they're good at, something people search them out for. The more you learn about different training methods and different activities that you can do with your dog, the more likely you are to find something that you are particularly good at, something you particularly enjoy, and then you can focus on that and then gain clientele around that, and it'll become like the thing that you're known for. So like getting known for the thing that you like to do, A+. Absolutely fantastic. So if I were to critique the course for dog training, it would definitely be, I wish that they went more in depth as to the whys in the coursework. They encourage that you take different pieces of people's philosophies, and that you well-round yourself as far as methods go. But I do wish that things were a little bit more in depth, that maybe it didn't take you 6 months, a year, year and a half to finish. Maybe they expect you to finish in 2 years and they just give you that more understanding. I also wish that they weren't necessarily like super cheesy advertising everywhere, because I do think that while it does get their name out there, it degrades the authenticity and the esteem of becoming a certified trainer through their program. Just because like you see it advertised on TV and you don't necessarily see very many other programs advertising in that way. Just my opinion there. I also think it's cheesy that it's ABC, but you know, it's an acronym, I guess. It just seems a little juvenile in my opinion, but it's fine. That's like a dumb critique, but you know, you know. But definitely if you're looking into training, getting a certification, whether it be Animal Behavior College or another program, being able to say you're a certified trainer is definitely a big deal. You don't have to advertise where you got it from, you don't have to whatever. Just being able to say that you're certified and being able to produce that certification is a huge selling point. And also you get more respect from the community. I think as a whole, the industry, you have to work for respect. People aren't just going to meet you and think that you're super serious and knowledgeable because the pet industry is so fast growing. There are so many people trying to work their way in. And there's a lot of controversial statements, information. So you do definitely have to work to get your name out there, to build rapport, respect, anything like that. And the biggest part of that is going to be networking and continue your education. Take a drink every time I've said continue your education, but it's true. So a lot of people have also asked if Animal Behavior College helped me find a job. For me personally, no. I do believe they have a job board on their website. They also have a place where you can advertise your own businesses. And I do sometimes get emails like, the Humane Society of Chicago has an opening for something. I don't live in Chicago. I don't know why I'm getting that email, but like, okay. So it's not like you're assigned a caseworker then places you in a job. But like I said, I did have an offer to work as an assistant from my externship trainer, another trainer that I work with more recently. I work as an assistant for her on occasion, and having that certification definitely helps you get your foot in the door of different animal related businesses. I know like kennels, like resort vacation kennels, if they don't already have a trainer, I would recommend proposing that they bring you on as a service that they can offer to their people, even if it's like a doggy daycare trainer or like whatever. There's a lot of ways that you can kind of weasel yourself into other people's businesses, just because, especially with the grow of shelter animals, there is a need for training. And in my opinion, a increased training, like people go through a basic class and like don't do any training outside of that class, and they're like, oh my god, my dog's like, it's like your dog won't listen to you when you're outside of its house. So I digress. They did not directly help me get a job, but I do have the job that I have in part because of them. And I do think that if I weren't to work there anymore, I would definitely be able to find a job somewhere else. They also do give you some information as far as creating your own business, making your own company, that kind of stuff. There's a whole chapter on like the legal side of that, and I found that to be extremely helpful as somebody who, like, I was taught in high school about how to apply to colleges. I was not taught how to like create an LLC to start my own business. So that was really helpful for me. I'm currently in the process of creating my own business. Right now it's a side thing to my full-time job. I'm hoping eventually that'll be my job. But just building clientele that way. And when I'm not working over here, I'm doing this. It is kind of the point that I'm at right now, just because it's really important to me to be able to work for myself for a multitude of reasons. So that's definitely my goal for the next 5 years. Overall, I do think that if you are interested in becoming a dog trainer that this is a beneficial program. I would recommend trying to latch on to one of those tuition deals, so signing up in the summer type deal, because I think that you're gonna get a better deal on it, and if you're willing to put in that work and not expect to be done learning once you've finished, I think that it's a great starting off point, just because it does help you network, and having that certified dog trainer in your title is such a big important thing. So that is my experience as a graduate of the Animal Behavior College dog training program. I had my qualms. I feel like everyone has qualms with schooling. And I do think that they can improve in some places, but ultimately for what it is, as long as you are continuing your education and looking deeper into topics, that you are going to be in a good spot once you get out of it. So with that said, if you have any more questions that you would like me to answer, I do try to answer them in the comments when I see them. I've been pretty inactive on my channel over the last couple months, but who knows if that'll continue happening or not. If you are interested in me making more dog trainer related content, let me know, because that's a thing that I could do now as a professional. And please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you liked this video, if you want more of this kind of content. And I'll see you next time. Bye.